DayLight is certainly the most underestimated components in the construction work. However, DayLight is free of charge for us, and it controls all biological and physiological processes in our body. A good reason for me to go and meet Dr. Köster, who is architect, and he develops DayLight systems to bring the daylight into the buildings. What do you mean by DayLight technology?
Thank you very much. That's a very essential question. So we consider the daylighting as architects under two aspects. One aspect is to avoid the overheating by solar irradiance, and the second aspect is to illuminate rooms by daylight. So we have two jobs to do. One job is to reduce the cooling load of buildings. The other job is to reduce electric lighting. So the savings are on both sides. Saving energy for electric lighting by better daylight autonomy, and secondly, reducing the cooling load, and that way saving energy for cooling.
What do you do better or differently that is not possible with conventional sun protection systems?
Well, traditional sun protection systems are louvers with colored surfaces. Colored surfaces do not allow to redirect the light in a precise direction. They mainly create shadow, and you can create a glare-free space. But we follow up other tasks. So one task is to protect the building from overheating. This we do by a special louver contour, which allows to mirror back the sun into the sky. So we do not absorb the heat on the louver, we do not create any heat in the facade area, but we reflect the light as light without creating heat. The second job is that we have a light shelf within our louver contours. And you see, this is a very precise optical system with which we redirect the light into the depth of the room. So the high overheating sun is always reflecting out, and the lower sun and the diffuse light will be reflected inside. So we fulfill two jobs at the same time. First, we protect the building from overheating. Second, we illuminate the interior. And the main advantage from comfort for the people sitting on their working desk is that we maintain the visual transmission. So the view out is maintained. We do not close our blinds in order to create a shadow. We leave the blinds open, and that is a skill of the mathematical contour of the mirror optics.
And you can do that without glare for the user at the desk?
Yes, this is a very good question. Glare is one of the main problems we have with the solar energy. So what do we do in order to avoid glare? We redirect the incoming sun onto the ceiling of a room, so we do not allow the light to be reflected into the eye of the user. We reflect it indirectly onto the ceiling and into the depth of the room.
Please give us examples for your projects you have done.
Yes, I'd like to explain you a few projects. For example, in Berlin, which you might know, there is a Preußischer Landtag, which is the government building of the local Berlin government. We have done at Potsdamer Platz with Richard Rogers, we have done one of the buildings, and we have done for the Labour Party building in Berlin, in the Wilhelmstraße. Furthermore, we have done projects from Sao Paulo up to Beijing. For example, in Sao Paulo, we have done the main administration building for South America, for Banque Santander, or for Allianz Insurance, or in Beijing we have done buildings for Baidu, the computer people, software people, and in Shenzhen we have done buildings for Tencent. So those are the best known names in China. Furthermore, we have done administration buildings and laboratory buildings for Clariant in Shanghai. And even in the Gulf, we have done buildings, the Central Bank of Kuwait, And we have done shortly a very big complex in South Korea, in Seoul. It's a big roof for government building integrated with a theater and a museum, etc. So we have done big projects worldwide.
However, you have also developed blinds that follow the sun and can be moved up and down.
Yes, we have developed a lot of systems. So we started in about 1990, 87, 90. We started to develop fixed systems within the insulation glass. Those systems were mainly being used in roof glazings. We have done big roof glazings, for example, in Germany for the exhibition in Munich, or for the Audi car. When you get an Audi car from Ingolstadt, you pick it up from a big glass hall with my systems in it. And we have done government halls and atriums, very big atriums. So that was a starting point. And then in the year 2000, we started with Venetian blinds, which have the advantage that you can bring them up and down, and you can tilt them, and you can follow the angle of the incidence of the sun. And those systems, they have very special louvers with optics, like Fresnel optic. I will explain you how those optics working, how I will show you ray tracings on the computer, so you have a better understanding how these optical systems are working. Yes, now we are sitting on the computer. We have a so-called retroflex louver in front of me. And you can see here on the computer, the louvers, they have a kind of a toothed surface. And this toothed surface works like a Fresnel optic. A Fresnel optic is basically a parabola with a focus. I show you for an angle of incidence of 35 degrees. You see here the blue light is the incoming light. So that's the solar irradiance in an angle of 35 degrees. Then you see the first reflection, and you see that this special louver has a focus, creates a focus here in this area. So the energy hitting the louver is reflected out as light. And when I go with the higher angles of incidence, you will see I don't have to tilt the louvers. They always reflect out. But I can even still open the blinds more. You can see here I change the rotation angle, let's say to 5 degrees. This is almost exactly horizontal. And then you see here for 60 degrees we are also out monoreflective. Monoreflective means the energy hitting the surface, this Fresnel optic, will be kicked out with one kick. So we don't create any heat on the surface. You see here a louver which has this kind of stepped contour. And this louver has the following characteristics. In the summertime with high angles of incidence, the light is coming in here and it's being reflected out again with one stroke. And you see the focus is outside here. So the light is diffusely reflected out without any glare. We kick back the light into the sun. We do not glare anyone on the street or in another building. With the lower angles of incidence, let's say 30 degrees, you see that still the energy that hits this part here, the weakly reflective part, the V shape, is being reflected somehow out, and some energy is hitting the light shelf. So if you look from inside against this curtain, you will not be glared. You don't even perceive any mirror. But still, it's a mirror system.
Fascinating. So what are the future developments?
I will show you some secrets now. You see here the new louver type is a kind of a set-shaped blind, which is very stable and which has a very nice visual transmission of about 80%. Now for an angle of incidence of 35 degrees, you see that the energy is reflecting out. Again, we have here the focus and some energy is reflecting in. Now you will ask how I'm doing this. I will reveal my secret. I increase the blinds, and what you see is that we have a stepped louver surface. So that's again a kind of a Fresnel optics which I emboss into this louver here. And here I have a smooth surface which reflects the light inside. And now I show you for higher angles of incidence, again less energy is getting inside, more is outside, and with an angle of 45 degrees we are almost finished, everything is going out. So basically you can see that this blind is working as is the louver I've shown you before, but we have a much better view out. Now here you see the louvers with the glass. You see here two sheets of glass, let's say insulation glass, that is inside, that is outside. Now I come again with this 35 degree angle of incidence, and now you see how we calculate these systems. You see here that we calculate any reflection on the glass. So we have control that there is no glare in the glass. When you look out there, you will not be glared from the reflection back into the glass. You see that all the energy that is going out stays out. That will be reflecting between the louvers. It's not going into the room. That is the real secret for the design of the optics, of the louver optics. Now what we have done is we had first coming in the light. You see here the reflections on the glass, and then you see the reflection on the louver, and this is again mirrored on the glass, and you see this mirror on the glass will hit the lower side of the louver, not glaring anyone. Now on the lower side of the louver again it will be reflected. You see this here, so it's reflecting back outside. And then there's again a mirror effect, and this is shown here. And again, and again.
It is very impressive to see what DayLight can do. Energy saving, health, better productivity for each of all, and last but not the least, it's good for our planet. I hope all the people will follow the idea. Thank you very much for the interview, and I wish all the people the right light at all times.